This is a live demonstration on how to use the alternate snapshot method and getting a Vault database from a publisher to a subscriber in the fastest time. Over on the left, I've got a publisher. Over on the right, I've got a subscriber. Both are virtual machines on the same physical machine, so I've limited the network to 4 megabytes up and down to simulate a slow network. On the left-hand side, on the publisher, if I right-click here, we can say Manage Replication, and you can see that there are no Vault databases. If I start the SQL Server Management Studio on the subscriber, we can have a look at that in a minute. If we look in the local SQL shared folder, we can see that the only database that's been replicated over to the subscriber at this time is the Knowledge Vault master. Okay, so let's log into the subscriber and have a look in here. So we have on the subscriber, we just have one agent, a distribution agent for the Knowledge Vault master. There's no Vault databases apart from the Knowledge Vault master here. As far as replication is concerned, there is only one subscription. So when I select this database and move it over to the right and then click OK, this will instruct Vault to send a command to SQL telling it to create a snapshot agent and then to start scripting out the Knowledge Vault master, or sorry, the PDMC sample database to a snapshot folder. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's have a look in here. Let's just do a refresh. Look at the publications. We have a PDMC sample there already. Let's view the snapshot agent status. It hasn't been created yet. Let's try again. Okay, so it hasn't been run yet. Let's give it a minute. It will start. Okay, so currently it's created 11% of the snapshot. There is now a folder there and files are starting to be put into the snapshot folder. So what we need to do is we need to wait until this is 100% complete. When it is, we can zip up this folder, copy it over to the subscriber and unzip it on the subscriber. We can just do a refresh in here. Hopefully the distribution agent should have started. There it is, it's been created now. If I right click and say properties, we can see it's the distribution agent for the PDMC sample. So the distribution agent, the first job that it needs to do is it needs to consume the snapshot that's being created at the moment, and it's only on 98%. So the consumption of that snapshot can take quite a long period of time. So that's the whole point of what we're trying to do today. So we need to wait for this to get to 100%, and then we can stop the agent. Okay, it's at 100%, so let's right click and say stop job. And what we can do is we can right click on here and we need to compress this. I like using 7-zip because you can control the number of CPUs and the amount of memory, but also quite important is you can split to volume. So if you have a large snapshot folder, when it's zipped, it could be over 1 gigabyte. If you try and copy a 1 gigabyte or larger file over the network and it gets to 99% after 2 days and then encounters an error, that can be really quite frustrating and time consuming, a complete loss of time. But if you split it into smaller volumes, then you've got more chance of getting that volume across. So I'm going to choose 100 and I'm going to start zipping that up. That's going to take a minute or so. Whilst that's zipping up, we can come into the distribution agent and we can edit the properties of it. So we select steps, edit, and then scroll right over to the end. And we have this command that says continuous. We need to get rid of that and replace it with this text here. So -alt snapshot folder is the switch to tell it to look at a different folder other than being continuous. And we're defining the folder that we're going to copy the snapshot to. Now this folder, it has to contain the UNC folder. So we can see this, the structure over on the left hand side. So we've got this UNC folder, and then the snapshot is in a subfolder of that UNC folder. We need to do exactly the same on the subscriber. So I'm just going to paste that in there. And so we've got two hyphens there. Let's get rid of one of them. And let's click OK on that. And OK. So the distribution agent has not started yet. We've stopped it. We're not starting it just yet. What we need to first of all do is we need to go to the SQL shared folder on the publisher, and I've saved that in the quick access already. Go into the UNC folder and we can see the zip snapshot there, so we can copy that and put it into the snapshot folder here, or the local snapshot folder. That will take a little while to copy over because we only have that 4 megabyte upload and download. That's now completed the copy over. So let's right click and extract here. Let's just check to make sure there's not a subfolder. Well, there is a subfolder, but sometimes it will duplicate the folder name, but we need to drag that into the UNC folder so that we've got the same structure as we had on the publisher. Now that we have the snapshot on the local machine, on the subscriber, we can start the distribution agent. But before we start the distribution agent, I want to check to make sure that it is looking in the right place. So I've got process monitor, and I've got process monitor already configured to just look at paths that begin with C, local snapshot folder, and also it's only looking at the process distrib. That's distrib.exe, distrib.exe. So the reason that I want to do this, I want confirmation that it is indeed looking at the correct place, because obviously this could be a very large snapshot that needs to be consumed, and we don't want to necessarily wait for it to return an error if we've got something wrong. So let's right click and start job at step. So that's now starting, so we can have a look in here and we can have a look at the local publications, and we look for the view synchronization status. So it's now consuming something, but is it looking at the local folder? Yes, it is, because this is now showing, or process monitor is now showing that the local snapshot folder is being accessed by distrib.exe. So that's all great. When it stops, we should have a message here saying something along the lines of the job succeeded. At that point, we should be able to enable the database on the ADMS console. Have a look at the ADMS console. Let's just do a refresh. So the database is definitely there, but we can see that distrib.exe is still running and it's still looking at this local snapshot folder. Okay, so when you get this message, the job succeeded, the job was invoked by XXX, this means that it has now completed. So we can close this and we can edit the distribution agent again and remove the edit that we put in there earlier and change it back to the default, which was continuous. So let's scroll all the way to the end and type in continuous. Okay. And then we can just make sure that that is taking effect by stopping it and starting it. And that was the alternate snapshot method.